Amazing. Good.
Good. All right. Great. Thank you all for being here today. As George mentioned, my name is Sami. I look after our developer relations in Vietnam and in other countries in Southeast Asia. Can you guys hear me in the back? Yeah. Good. A lot of people actually. So we're a very small team. Our developer relations team at Google. I'm based in the Singapore office. We have about 50 people, 50 people globally in our team. Many of them are based in the US. We have some in Europe, some in Africa, some in the Middle East and in Asia, and even South America actually now as well. Now, some people ask me, why are we looking at Vietnam? Right? What type of activity is happening in Vietnam when it comes to developers? Over the last few months, I've been doing a fair bit of research about the developer ecosystem or the developer community in Vietnam. And what we found was that there's an incredibly strong amount of talent in Vietnam for developers and for particularly for mobile app developers. And when we looked at what is driving this in Vietnam, we look at things like there's 40 million internet users in the country, right? So there's a massive opportunity. We have some incredible engineering schools, IT schools in Vietnam, and 70% of the population is under the age of 35. So you mix these things together and you find, oh, and one more thing, a very common quote that I've heard is that everyone in Vietnam is an entrepreneur, right? Have you guys heard that before? Everyone in Vietnam is an entrepreneur. I have come to truly believe that. I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible when you mix these things together, what you end up with are incredible businesses and apps and products that are being developed out of Vietnam. One thing that can make that type of community even stronger is to bring the community together more and more often. Let them learn from each other. Give them the platform to educate themselves and to continue to succeed, to network and so on. And that's why I'm so grateful to George and the team from GDG for being so active over the last few years to bring this community absolutely, for free, to bring this community together and to learn from each other, to meet each other. Hopefully you guys had a chance to speak to one another in the morning, and you will later as well. And then also, it becomes an avenue in which we can share Google directly with Vietnam, whatever we're working on, and whatever the latest technologies and concepts in technology that we can share. So I'm really, really grateful that this community is doing so well. How many of you here have been to a GDG event before? Yeah, can I just see a show of hands? Pretty good. So there's a lot of newcomers as well, which is great. Welcome. If you haven't been part of a GDG event in the past, I certainly encourage, I welcome you to more GDG events. We have the next one coming up on March 26th. 26th, I think, or 27th, is the Women Tech Makers event. It's not just for women, but it's an extremely important event for Vietnam. If you look around, there's a problem, right? There's too many men.
Yeah.
Too many men, right? And why is that? Because technology is open to everybody, right? Anyone can learn it. Anyone with an internet access and a laptop can make an app. There's just as many women in Vietnam as there are men, so why not? And this is not a Vietnamese phenomenon. This is global, and it's really important that we try to fix it because women are an extremely important part of our workforce, our productivity, and they bring a dynamic that balances our successful businesses. Right? You'll see at Google, many of our leaders are women. Right? And it's something that we're very particular, we really want to manage within Google is to make sure that we have an equal representation, right? Everyone brings their own value to the organization. So Women Tech Makers is about empowering, encouraging, welcoming women into that community. Okay, so that's going to make our community even stronger in Vietnam. I don't want to take up much more time. I just wanted to say those few words. I'm really excited about being back in Vietnam. Hopefully you'll see a lot of me. This is my 8th visit now, my 2nd time to Ho Chi Minh City. And I'm definitely going to come again very soon. I have fallen in love with this city. It's absolutely beautiful. And you'll see a lot more events from us coming up. With that, I'm going to introduce my colleague, Takuo Suzuki, who's come all the way from Japan, from Tokyo, to be with you today. Takuo is developer relations in Japan, and he's an expert in UX, user experience, and material design. How many of you have heard of material design for Android? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's great. So Takuo actually co-wrote many of the documentation that many of you may have read online. He's been actually written part of the Code Lab, the workshop that has been published in Google for teaching material design, and he does code labs and workshops and talks around the world about UX and material design. And I'm really, really excited to have him here today to talk to you guys about Firebase, a product that we're very passionate about and that we'll be focusing a lot on this year. So with that, please welcome Takuo. Thank you so much.
Mr. Sami, and I'm going to invite Mr. Charles will be do some. We have some gift for you. Yeah. Thanks for your sharing.
Oh, thank you.
We really appreciate your attendance today.
I would like to say thank you to Sami as well, because without his support we cannot grow that fast. And again, Vietnam's community wants to say thanks, and hopefully in the future we will have more and more support from the area and the region as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Next, I want to introduce Mr. Sun. She's a teacher of Pasig University. He says a few words before we hand this to Mr.